All right, so this is a continuation of the last discussion we were having about the tools, techniques, and tactics associated with database marketing. I want to continue discussion, and we titled this discussion Getting You to Think Like a Database Marketer. Because one of the problems is that you're so set in the traditional marketing approach that many students sort of miss the whole point behind database marketing because they never, ever, ever actually think like a database marketer. So I want to do a little bit more of an introduction here to see if I can't get you to think a little bit more like a database marketer and a little less like a traditional marketer moving forward. All right, let's start with the biggest reasons that database marketing does not work for a firm. First, a lack of leadership. That is, database marketing needs to have champions within the organization, and it needs to have people in the organization who are both knowledgeable and are the leaders in making sure that the organization makes the transition from traditional marketer to database marketer. The second, of course, is the lack of training. It's absolutely essential that the organizations have training available for their employees as we try to make the transition from traditional marketers to database marketers, and that people get trained on how to use the database, how to access the database, and how to use the database to become more effective and more efficient managers. The third factor is one that is very, very important and one that I see all the time, and that is lack of database marketing strategies. Now, I remember in the last discussion we talked about the fact that database marketers, database marketing strategies are in essence the same as traditional marketing strategies. We just have different tools, techniques, and tactics available to make those things happen. But what happens often is that organizations put in some sort of a turnkey CRM system and then just expect the money to start flowing in. And of course, unless you can come up with ways to take that database and become a more effective and more efficient marketer with that database, you will not realize the potential of the database, and your organization will not become more profitable, nor will it become more effective, more efficient. So these are the three basic things that all people who try to implement database marketing strategies talk about. But there's also this lack of making the transition from traditional marketer to database marketer. That is, this notion of switching from one to the other. You know, I do a lot of work for not-for-profit organizations, and I am on the board of directors for a number of not-for-profits in town. And I have seen this happen over and over and over again. The organization decides that they need to have a marketing database of their donors and potential donors so that they can do a better job of raising money. After all, the lifeblood of most charitable organizations is donations. Well, they buy the Razor's Edge software, which is a sort of the staple and sort of the very typical donor-based software package. And they get all their employees trained, and they get trained on it. And then they flip the switch and implement the database marketing. They implement the database marketing approach for their business. And as they do this, they basically turn the database on. But then they don't go in and actually do any strategic planning, and they don't end up with any specific new strategies to either build relationships, the CRM approach, or to make offers, the direct marketing approach, or to provide better service to their donors, the services marketing approach, or look at who their best donors are and try to profile and clone them. That is the analytic modeling approach. So what happens is that they implement a database, but they don't implement any database marketing strategies, and they never, ever, ever quite make the transition from traditional marketers to database marketers. What they end up being is a traditional marketer with a database that they don't really know how to use effectively and efficiently. Let's go back to remember the famous 4 ways to use your database to make more money, raise more money, get more support. One is a direct marketing approach. Of course, we have the CRM approach, which is the one that we all know something about already because we've discussed the CRM approach, the relationship building approach, the direct marketing modeling approach, the customer service approach, and the analytics modeling approach. Now, we talked about these in the last lecture, and these are the 4 basic ways that a company can think about their database and use their database to become more effective, more efficient marketers. A couple of things about those 4 approaches. One is that they're not mutually exclusive, and in fact, they are often synergistic. So what does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean that if you use your database as a services marketing tool, that you couldn't also use it as a CRM tool or a direct marketing tool or a modeling and analytics tool. And in fact, what we find most often is that when you use it in multiple ways, the benefits are not only additive, they're actually multiplicative, and so the approaches become synergistic. You also will understand that many of the what we would call tools, tactics, and techniques overlap. That is, some of the same things that you would do to build relationships with customers would be the same thing that you would do to do a better job of providing service for those customers. All of these require a change in operations. That is a different approach to doing business and the training that goes along with that. Here I have a summary of the different approaches of database marketing strategies and some of the tools, tactics, and techniques that each of these use. Now you notice that I have this particular chart color-coded. I also have a copy of this chart in one of the handouts in file 6, in week 6, in the week 6 files under database marketing strategies. You'll notice that what I have in here now is the direct marketing approach, all right? And so direct marketing approach uses RFM, and we're going to go through these in more detail in just a little bit. The customer service approach uses some of the same approaches, some of the same tools and techniques, but then they have a different set that are mostly focused on customer service. A third is the CRM approach, which you'll notice has perhaps the most overlap of tools with the other areas, and then the analytics and modeling approach. So we're going to talk about each of these 4 approaches, and in the rest of the course we're going to be spending time on each of these approaches and how we can become better direct marketing database marketers, better customer service database marketers, and better analytical modeling acquisition-based database marketers. So that's where we're headed from here.